Hello, I wanted to get a radio that I could use in the bathroom, my shower room, that I'm not too worried about if it gets moisture and steam in it, and something I could take on an upcoming camping trip. So not something mega expensive that I don't want to get knackered up, but something that still sounds decent. So I bought a few radios off Amazon, and this little review is just going to be comparing these options to see if any of them are any good. I've got a couple of really good little portable radios. This one, the Roberts Petite 2. This is just beautiful, 20-hour plus battery life, excellent sound with a bass port on the back and everything. But these are about 100 quid. It's small, but it's a fairly heavy, solid little unit. And I don't want to stick a 100 quid radio in my bathroom where it's going to get exposed to steam and everything. Oftentimes at home I'll use my phone and connect it to a Bluetooth speaker or something, especially if I'm listening to music, because none of these can anywhere near compete with something like this Bluetooth speaker. But I don't always want to have my phone on, wasting my phone's battery and internet connection. I might not always have an internet connection, and I do just like having a radio on sometimes that I can switch on, leave on, not have to worry about draining my phone's battery. We'll just move that radio out of the way for a minute. I'll talk about that one later. And my little battery powered FM AM Roberts 925, we'll also talk about that one in a bit. But I grabbed these radios off of Amazon UK. Not going to go into massive depth about all these radios because that would just make this video ridiculously long. I'm going to look at kind of 4 categories I think that are the most important factors in buying a portable radio. I'm going to look at audio quality, the ease of use, the battery life, and then just talk about design as well. How do these make you feel? Do you want to own them and use them? So they're the 4 categories we're going to look at. Just get these out of the way and I'll tell you which each one is. This one was the MyKit DAB radio, and this one was $29.99 from Amazon. These are all bought on the same date, right at the end of June 2025. Yeah, so 30 quid off Amazon. I have had a look earlier today, and this one's now 24 quid on Amazon. The price of all these sort of Chinese no-name radios does go up and down wildly on Amazon UK, so just depending on what day you look will depend on what price you get it for. But this one was 30 quid. This one is the Aiwa RD40 DAB. This was £19.99. I've seen it on other websites for, 30 odd, 40 odd quid. So that was a good price on this one. Aiwa, an old brand from back in the day. Don't see much of their gear nowadays, do you? This one is just listed on Amazon as DAB radio portable. Let's have a look. What does that say on the back there? Brand Gallipec. Yeah, it's not even listed with that brand name on Amazon. DAB portable. This one's got a little solar panel in the back to top up the battery. This one was the Roberts Rambler Mini, and this one I bought for, cheaper than I've usually seen it on Amazon. This one was £54.95. Again, the price of these ones does tend to go up and down on Amazon, but Roberts, you're always going to pay a bit more for a branded Roberts radio. And this one was the Wovte. The Wovte. Don't you just love Chinese brand names? The Wovte portable DAB radio. And this one was £22.94. So all of these have got FM radio, DAB plus radio. They've also got Bluetooth connectivity options so you can play your music through it. Apart from the Aiwa one, that's just purely FM or DAB. And this one, the solar one, this does have FM, DAB plus and a TF card slot and a USB slot as well. So you can play music files via a USB stick or a little SD card in there. That's quite feature packed really. These are all also USB-C charging of their inbuilt battery. For me, that was a really important factor. I'm trying to get all my devices onto the one charging cable, USB-C. Can't be doing with carrying extra cables, micro USB cable just to charge up my radio when everything else I've now got is USB-C. So yeah, these are all USB-C charging. I have been using this, the little Radii RD23. This is an excellent little radio. Sounds fantastic for its size. Honestly, I'm amazed that something this small can sound this good. Really, really wonderful. Get about 10 hours battery life out of this one. It's got a twisty volume knob up and down. It's got a switch, a slide switch for on and off, which is great. Presets and everything. Decent, but it's old-fashioned micro USB. So yeah, like I say, especially when I'm traveling light, I don't want to carry extra cable for micro USB. So that was one of the reasons as well why I wanted a new radio. I have literally today just seen on Amazon, there is a new Radii version. I forget the model name, but fairly similar to this one, with a slightly larger battery and a full colour screen that is USB-C charging as well. And I have just ordered one of those to try, and we'll review that one when it gets there. If it's as good as this one, it's going to be a winner. But yeah, these are the ones I've got now. So let's just talk about ease of use. I really don't like it when radios have a press and hold to power on and press and hold to power off button. That's just, why have you added that in there? That's an extra step. It's a matter of a couple of seconds, isn't it, to press and hold the button to power on your radio, but it just really annoys me. There's no need to have that. When I'm in a rush in the mornings and I'm dashing into the bathroom, say, to get ready for work, and I want the radio on, I just want to click my radio on and for it to come on. I don't want to have to stand and press and hold a power button to power on my radio. That's so annoying. This radio, the MyKit, and this one and the Aiwa are all press and hold. As I say, it is only for a second or two, but it's just annoying that you have to do that to switch your radio on and to power it off. This one, the one with the little solar panel, this has a slide-in switch, which is great. You slide that across and it'll boot up in a couple of seconds. Switch it off, just slide that off. It's just so much more convenient. The best system out of all of them is the Roberts Rambler Mini. Just press the big control knob there and it switches on. Boots up in a couple of seconds. Again, just click it to turn it off. Why aren't they all like that? That's easily the best way. It's something or nothing, isn't it? Something so small, but it's really annoying. Roberts definitely implements that the best way out of these 5 radios. The second best one is this little no-name one with the solar panel, because it's a slide switch, it's instant, you're not standing there. Even though it's only for a couple of seconds, you're not having to waste your precious time doing that. The rest of them, yeah, I can live with it. It's just better with either just a simple click or a slide switch. Let's also talk about the user interface. Again, I think the Roberts largely does this the best. You click to turn it on.
It's a rock record, but it's really hooky. It sticks in your head.
You've got a twisty volume knob there for your volume. That's loads better than having clicky buttons. I always got clicky buttons for its volume up and down. Again, it's not the end of the world at all, but it just feels more natural to have a twisty dial for your volume up and down. The little no-name solar one also has a dial for its volume up and down, which is good. It's a bit harder to grab hold of because it's a bit recessed in there, but yeah, that's got a twisty dial. That one's got a twisty knob for its volume, and that one's also got a twisty knob for its volume, so that's great. On these 2 radios as well, let me show you. So volume up and down. But also, if you're searching through the stations, you press this arrow button to search through your stations. The volume button then acts as a scroll controller, which is really excellent. Makes it extremely quick to scroll through to find what you want, and then OK, and it'll latch onto there. And then once you're back on the station, it acts as a volume control again. So that's really good, and it works the same way on this white one. Both of these 2 radios, the MyKit and the WovTi, they're basically the same radio, the same kind of operating system, the same everything, just in a slightly different box. They work in exactly the same way. The button layouts with the presets and everything is exactly the same. Yeah, it's some Chinese electronics slapped in a slightly different box, and I suspect there are dozens of other models of radio, possibly, that are also based on the exact same internals and circuits and everything. The Aiwa, let's just get that one on. This one's got clicky buttons for volume up and down and for scrolling through your stations there. So again, that's no biggie. It's just nicer and feels more natural to have a twisty dial. Presets is another thing that's really nice to have, and these all do have presets where you can store your favourite stations. I think the advantage here has to go to the WovTi, the MyKit, and the no-name solar one, because these have dedicated preset buttons on there where you can store 4 stations on these. All of these are accessible at the press of a button, which is excellent for your most used stations, and you can store more on these as well. But 4 direct access buttons for your favourites is really nice. On the Roberts Rambler Mini, you access your presets by pressing that little heart button. Then you scroll through using these arrow directional buttons. There you go, whatever, and then select with that button there. So that's a fairly effective, no hassle way of accessing your presets. That's all right. Just to say as well, I haven't referred to the user manuals for any of these radios, and I've found all of them fairly intuitive to use. If you know your way around any of this kind of gear, all of them pretty intuitive, I must say. The little Iowa as well, as a preset button there, so you press that and then you scroll through your favourites, up or down, whatever. There you go. Press the OK button to select whatever item on your menu you've selected. So yeah, they've all got presets. Another real big factor for me is on a portable battery powered radio, you need to have a sleep timer. I love falling to sleep with the radio on, and if I'm away from a mains power supply, then I don't want to fall asleep and my radio keep playing all night or until I next week wake up needing to get to the loo or something to find my batteries drained. So a sleep timer is vital. That's one of the other reasons why I wanted a different radio to this little Raddy with about 10 hours battery life. If I fall asleep with this on with no sleep timer, though, that's dead in the morning. These all have a sleep timer. I've got to tell you, they're kind of buried in menus. In all of these, you have to go through quite a little process. Once you've learned where it is, it's easy enough to do, but it's a bit of a pain on this one, and this one to access your sleep timer. On the Iowa, they've really got this right. Like I say, a dead important feature, and they've put a dedicated button for it right on the front of the unit here. Press the button with the zzz on there. Takes you straight into your sleep timer. Off 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes or 90 minutes. Then that's on and it's running, and it'll just switch off after that designated time. Excellent, and great that it's not buried in menus. Really nice touch. Love that. So that's just a really brief look at the features. They're all fairly easy to operate. I love that the Roberts is just a simple one click and it's on, one click and it's off. The next best one to that is the little slide switch on this little no-name one. That's good. You do have to press and hold to switch on and off on these three, which is dead annoying. The controls, volume and everything, they're all fine on all of them. There's no deal breakers there really. Presets, yeah, they've all got presets, which is good, and they're all fairly easy to access. These three do it best because you've got the dedicated buttons on there, but yeah, easy enough to access on the Roberts and the Iowa. And the sleep timer, yeah, well, they've all got them, which is fantastic, but definitely implemented the best on the Iowa with its little dedicated button right on the front of the unit there. Okay, the next thing to look at is battery life. These are portable radios, and I will be using them as portable, not just wired up to the mains. So battery life, really important. DAB radios drain power so much quicker than just FM, analog FM radios. I'm not sure about the science behind why, but they do. My little beloved Roberts Sports 925, this runs on 2 AA batteries, and it will run for about 60 hours, which is absolutely amazing. 60 hours, it sounds decent. Previously probably my favourite really small FM AM radio. I love these. I've got another one, the old style one that I've had for 20 odd years. It's still going strong. But yeah, 60 hours battery life out of one of these. Amazing. You won't get anywhere near that out of a portable DAB radio that I'm aware of. Please let me know if there is one. Not a massive one, a small portable one. Because DAB drains battery so much quicker. So let's just talk about the battery life on all these. I only got these a couple of days ago, but I charged all of them up and then I set them all running and timed how long they ran for. They were all on DAB, set to Radio 4, all of them at just over half volume, literally just over half volume. That would be a normal, okay level for listening in a small room. And I timed them, and the results are in reverse order. The MyKit, what's the battery capacity? That's got 2,200 milliamp hours battery, apparently. The MyKit ran for 15 hours and 58 minutes. That might be a tiny bit generous because I missed this one switching itself off, but that's what I stopped my timer at, 15 hours and 58 minutes. It's supposedly got a 2,200 milliamp hour battery, just shy of 16 hours. Not bad. As I said previously, this one is pretty much the same, and this one was the next one, and this one ran for 16 hours and 6 minutes. Got the same battery in there, 2,200 milliamp hour battery. And these two about 16 hours. Next one was this little dude, and I didn't have it in a sunny window or anything, so it wasn't getting any extra boost from the solar panel there. And this one ran for 17 hours and 21 minutes. And what's that one got? Where's the battery deets on there. That one also, in theory, has a 2,200 milliamp hour battery. Oh, just to mention as well, this one has got a removable battery in there. That's really good and really handy. You can just change that battery when it runs out, or take a spare new one with you if you're going to be away from any power. Nice touch. None of the others have removable batteries. 17 hours and 21 minutes. Pretty decent. Next was the Roberts Rambler Mini. I have had one of these before, and I know the battery life is really decent on these, and this one ran for 19 hours and 23 minutes, so that's really decent performance. Battery in this one is a 2,600 milliamp hour battery, so I would have expected this one to run for longer, and it did. But the surprise, the real surprise, this absolutely amazed me. The little Aiwa RD40, well, this one ran for 20 hours and 32 minutes, which I was absolutely amazed by. In fact, I've been waiting for this one to die so I could make this video, hence it's now plugged into a charge pack. Yeah, 20 hours and 32 minutes. What's the battery in that one? And according to this is only a 2,000 milliamp hour battery, so yeah, I don't know how or why they've managed to get this one to run for so long, but yeah, dead impressed with that, and it was only 20 quid, so yeah, that's really good. 20 and a half hours on DAB broadcasting at just over half volume. In fact, I did have this one turned up louder than that as I was just trying to see if I could run the battery down. So yeah, really good performance from the Aiwa. As I said earlier in the video, the radios were all on Radio 4. They were on DAB, but they were just on Radio 4, which is speech, isn't it? So I suspect and would expect the batteries to last less than that, playing music, as the speakers and processing and everything would have to deal with the wider frequency range of music versus speech. But yeah, good performance on speech, and I do listen to radio for speech more than music, so yeah, all of these were okay. Roberts, very good. Aiwa, really good. And I think the most important factors are audio quality, ease of use and battery life, aren't they? Surely. But the design and how something that you buy makes you feel is also important. Let's have a look at these Chinese no-name brands. These are just, that's particularly ugly, that radio, isn't it? It's horrible, but it's functional. Loads of great features, decent battery life. Sounds all right, but yeah, it's horrible to look at. These two, they're just not particularly attractive, are they? They're not hideous, but yeah, they're horrible, really. For me, I think easily the most attractive one is the Roberts. This is just a hunk of moulded plastic, pretend wood panels on the end, they're just plastic. But this just, I love the Roberts Rambler. The original 70s design is my very favourite. And this one looks nice. Even though it's all plastic, it's quite solidly made, and it does evoke the spirit of the original Ramblers. The current Ramblers that they produced in the Uno, the Midi and the Max and the Classic, they are made with solid wood cabinets and they look absolutely beautiful. But this one's much cheaper and it still looks lovely. So design wise, this one easily for me the best, and an object that I like to look at and handle, and you know, like having sat on a shelf or something. That's nice, whereas these, yeah. The little Aiwa, I actually quite like the way that looks. Different sort of vibe to the Roberts, but it looks loads nicer than these other three. Nice solid build, actual metal grille versus the plastic on these. Yeah, and I quite like the way that looks. Roberts is clearly the nicest, but the Aiwa, I don't mind that one either. It's quite nice. These other three, meh. You've got to want to own an object, haven't you? Part of the whole experience of buying things is that they look nice and make you feel nice. So, yeah, not really that important, but it does play a part, surely. It does for me.
Any connection between them and the entire rubric of the exhibition. I couldn't see why it connected or why it was to do with the world about us. That's that question. What does seaweed think about us? Well, it doesn't. But they were such beautiful objects. I didn't mind.
No, they were lovely. And I think some things which were done in the shape of petrol cans. And
yes, these are to be buried in the ground,
and they're permeable and they leach out water, but they're done in the shape of petrol cans, and they're really clever and a great joke.
Did you not like the Isabella Rossellini as her pretending to be animals, going through the sexual kind of practices and mating rituals of animals? We've got a tiny little clip. I think this is her as a seahorse.
What am I, a seahorse?
Those were delightful, I think. Funny and, as you say, kind of witty and genuinely made you think about other ways of being.
Yeah, wonderful and charming and
Which brings us to Cultural Picks, that part of the programme where our guests recommend things they've seen or watched that they think deserves a bigger audience.
Okay, so I just did a couple of quick audio clips of all the radios, and I've included my Roberts Sports 925 and the little Raddy RD23 as well, just for comparison on the speech radio. Didn't do my what I would normally do, which would be to do an audio test properly with music, playing via the Bluetooth feature. I didn't do that on this review because the Aiwa doesn't have Bluetooth, so I just did a quick test on a bit of music from Six Music and a bit of speech from Radio 4, and I think they all sound okay. You're not getting hi-fi sound out of any of these units, and so also tied in with that, I don't think the argument about DAB not being as good as FM really applies as much, because they're just small radios, and I think they all sounded decent. I think they all sounded better than the little battery-powered Roberts there, although I do love this. It sounds really nice for speech. But yeah, they all sounded good. The Aiwa sounds lovely for speech, but I think it struggles a little bit compared to the rest on playing music. I think the next one up the scale was this one, the little no-name solar panel one. You can see in the grill there, it has got a tiny little bass port on there, so that does help a little bit with the audio, I think, and that sounded quite good. I think these two both sounded nice, quite rich for the size and cost of the units. They sounded decent. I think the Rambler Mini as well sounds okay for its size. Sort of captures the woody tone of the old Rambler from back in the day as a little portable bathroom radio type of thing, which is what I wanted these for. They're all alright. What do you reckon? Yeah, again, apologies I couldn't do a more thorough audio test, but I wouldn't have been able to include this radio as it's the only one without the Bluetooth feature, which again, it's a radio. That's what I'm going to be using these for. I won't be blasting my music through any of these really. So yeah, brief audio clips, and they all sound okay, acceptable. None of them can compete with something like the Roberts Petite 2 with its decent sized bass port on the back there. This sounds fantastic, this radio. None of them can compete with something like the Tribit Stormbox Flow, but as small portable radios, I'd be happy to use any and all of them as a little bathroom or camping radio. So in conclusion, which one do I think is the best? Am I going to keep all or any or none of these? Right from the start, it was going to be this one. It is quite a lot more expensive than any of the others, but it looks nice, really easy to use, battery life's really good, sound is decent, very good reception. I didn't mention reception, did I? The reception on this one was the worst in my house. Downstairs in my house, in my kitchen, reception can be a little bit tricky. This one did struggle. These two were okay, but struggled a tiny bit. The Roberts and the Aiwa had excellent reception. No qualms whatsoever about either of these two. So yeah, I was just going to keep the Roberts. 55 quid, it's still really more than I wanted to spend, and I thought, yeah, I'll just suck up that extra few quid and I'll keep this one. These can all go back because they're not that great. But the battery test and the price has kind of made this probably the one I'm going to keep. The audio on this one is not quite as good as some of the others. It has got a press and hold power on and off button, which I'm not a massive fan of. It's not the end of the world, but it was 20 quid. Battery life's really good. It's small, it's compact. Because it was only 20 quid, I don't mind if it gets a bit knocked about, and that I've already got a little scratch on there, look. So yeah, as a little radio to have in my bathroom and to take camping with us, I think it's going to be this one. Or maybe that one. No, I think it's going to be that one that I'll keep. And all these will all go back. 20 quid. Decent. Can't grumble at that really. But what do you think? Do you still listen to radio? Do you still use a radio? I do, all the time. Thank you for watching, and may the seed of your loins be fruitful in the belly of your woman. Hey. Hasta luego.